And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hi there, Carson Meredith with you on this Saturday night. It is 7 o'clock on the dot. It is March 1st, 2025. Happy meteorological spring. It's not officially spring just yet, but another step in the right direction. But it does not feel that way today. If you've been out and about, you know it's chilly. And if you watched our forecast throughout the day, you know it's going to get cold overnight tonight. So we'll talk about the chill in the air that we have this evening. And we will, of course, focus much of our time tonight on that alert day, or alert days, I suppose, for Tuesday night and Wednesday. Several threats that we may have to keep an eye on. By the middle part of this week, let me start things off, however, with this view. Ooh. What a beauty of a sunset tonight. Live view, of course, from downtown Louisville. All the skyscrapers lit up. Yum Center's lit up. The Cards are playing Pitt right now. Hopefully they have better luck than the Cats did earlier this afternoon. No, I do not want to talk about it. But hey, it was a beautiful, beautiful day, even if it was just a little chilly for March 1st standards. Outside right now, our current temperature is 36 degrees. But the big pain today hasn't necessarily been the actual temperatures. It's been the wind. Again, not as blustery as what we had yesterday, but still enough to give you an extra bite in the air. In fact, we're still seeing wind gusts this evening around 20 miles per hour just a few minutes ago at the airport. And that wind is out of the north, so obviously you're going to get a wind chill as a result. So it feels really like 28 degrees at this moment. So if you're heading out for dinner this evening or any other plans, dress warmly. Heavy coats, definitely a good idea as you're out and about tonight. Let me show you another angle of the downtown sunset. Look at that. That's from our Jeffersonville camera across the Ohio. Beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, we did have all those clouds earlier today, but they are starting to break up, obviously, and eventually the wind will subside here in the next few hours. And once that happens, those temperatures are going to go way downhill real quick. So that's why a lot of us will be in the low 20s tomorrow morning. Ooh, brutal. Compared to this time last night, so compared to where we were at 7 o'clock Friday night, we are 28 degrees colder here in Louisville tonight compared to 24 hours ago. You get up towards Indianapolis, 35 degrees colder tonight, 27 degrees colder in Bowling Green and Evansville, 30 degrees colder in St. Louis. So this is Mother Nature saying, hey, I call the shots and winter is not done yet. But we're getting there. We are getting there. Who's watching tonight? Clayton's watching on YouTube. Hope you're well, my friend. Scott, same to you. And Lyndon. Nancy says, hey. Kathy says, hey. Weather Geek is tired of playing hide and seek with the warm weather. So am I. We got spoiled the last few days with those 60s and 70s, and we got a reality check tonight, or this weekend. Forget just tonight, all of this weekend, today, tonight, tomorrow. Amber says hello. Scott says nice tie. Thank you. This is an oldie. I haven't worn it in a while. I like it. Michelle says, hey. Nancy says, will you order some more of yesterday's temps without the wind? Trust me, we put in that order. It's back ordered. I could say something about the post office, but I'm not going to because they're good people over there. DJ King says, good evening from North Vernon. Hope you're well, my friend. Olivia says, hey. Is winter over? DJ King asks. I'm not going to say it's totally over, but I do not see at this point any big-time snowstorms, any big-time winter storms. There's a couple little chances we got to watch, but I think the big-time stuff might be done. Might be done when it comes to snow. All right, more comments in a minute. Let's focus on tonight because it's going to be cold. That's all you need to know. Skies continue to clear. The wind will die down tonight. I promise it will. 23 is our forecast low. overnight tonight. And that's here in Louisville. Obviously, if you get outside the city, you're going to be quite a bit colder than that. I think some of our low-lying, outlying areas may very well be around 17, 18, 19 degrees Sunday morning. And most of us will be in the low 20s, around 20 or 21. So if you're heading to church tomorrow morning, if you're heading to brunch, if you're just going shopping, whatever your plans you might have, heavy coats, hats, gloves, scarves, you will need it all tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon isn't bad. It's very similar to today, in fact, with one big difference. Not as much wind. The wind will be much calmer tomorrow, very light. So that's not going to add much of an extra wind chill as you're out and about Sunday afternoon. But even with all the sunshine, it stays chilly. Our forecast here in Louisville is 42. A lot of you hover right around that 40-degree mark on Sunday. So one last bout of some rather chilly air. If you're heading to the Home and Garden Show tomorrow, it says today at the top of the screen. I forgot to change that to Sunday. My apologies. It goes from 11 to 5 tomorrow out at the Expo Center. Get some spring cleaning ideas around the house, some gardening ideas. Will be that time soon enough. Low 30s around 11 a.m. So still pretty chilly. We may not get above freezing until lunchtime tomorrow. And then we'll top out in the low 40s, fall back quickly into the 30s tomorrow evening. All right, more comments real quick. I don't want to waste y'all's time. Anita says, is spring coming? It's slowly getting here. I'm starting to see hints of that spring feel that might actually have some staying power with it. In other words, it's going to stay warmer for a little bit longer period of time. I'm seeing hints of that. I'll show you in the 10-day here as we wrap up here in a few minutes. Nathan says, hey, it was cold today. Yes, it was. What happened to Tuesday? Is there a chance for an enhanced risk for Louisville? So obviously we're talking about the severe weather potential. Yes, that risk is there. We're going to dive into it after I look through a few more comments. So hang tight for a few more seconds. Let's see. Kathy says, March is a windy month. Yes, it is. It's one of the busiest months when it comes to wind advisories around wave country. Yesterday was February 28th, obviously, but close enough. We had a wind advisory, and I think there's a good chance we'll have another wind advisory for Wednesday of next week. Marcia says, I thought I saw a few snowflakes in Madison, Indiana today. Just a few. Very disappointed. Yeah, that's actually, I appreciate that report, Marcia, because we were talking this morning on Sunrise on our early newscast that there was a small chance for a few snowflakes to fly up towards Madison and Seymour and North Vernon. So, and we did indeed see on radar a few snowflakes earlier today. So that's not surprising. This system that brought the cold front through, the low pressure was kind of hanging around up towards Lake Michigan, or towards Michigan and the Great Lakes, I should say. So it gave us just enough moisture to squeeze out a few snowflakes up your way, Marcia. So thanks for that. Good to know that we did see a few snowflakes as we forecast. Adam always watching us up in Bloomington. Jay asked about the system that we are about to dive into for Tuesday and Wednesday. Will we get as much rain as the mess a couple of weeks ago? And the answer is no, Jay. Thankfully, I can say no to that question. So let's just dive right into it. I have not changed the alert date times at this point. I don't have specific hours just yet. I hope to get some of that tomorrow when we're chatting. But this still looks like a Tuesday night into all day Wednesday scenario for now. But it's not necessarily one single threat for that entire window. Okay. It's multiple things that we're going to have to watch. The first of which is Tuesday night, as the cold front moves through, we'll have that risk for a few stronger storms. Now, at this point, and I don't want to sound like I'm dismissing the threat because I'm not in any way. I think there's going to be a few strong storms around, but The greatest risk still appears to be south of us and west of us, western Kentucky, down towards especially western Tennessee, Memphis, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. That's the main area where the severe weather potential is going to be. It could be a pretty significant severe weather episode for our friends down to the south. That's not to say that we're not going to see severe storms here Tuesday night. I think there's still a chance. I just don't think there's going to be as many severe storms up here as what we will see south of us on Tuesday night. So that's the first focus, is Tuesday night strong storms. General timing, I'd say after 7 or 8 o'clock at this point, but it could be much later in the night than that. So with that in mind, we're getting into that severe weather season again. Now that we're in March, make sure your severe weather plan is ready to go. You may not need it Tuesday night. If you don't, great. But make sure you have ways to get warnings to wake you up, be it your phone, your NOAA weather radio, whatever it might be. And if you don't hear the NOAA weather radio or your phone go off, then you can sleep peacefully. All right. So that's the story for Tuesday night. Then we get into Wednesday. The main focus that I have for Wednesday is going to be the wind, non-thunderstorm wind. So like we had yesterday. Yesterday, we had those gusts around 35 to 40 miles an hour. I do think that is possible again on Wednesday. And I'll actually go ahead and say it's likely that we'll see wind gusts around 40 miles per hour on Wednesday as the low pressure with this system moves north of us. There is still a narrow window for a few more strong storms Wednesday around midday. I will say I'm not as concerned about that potential as what I was yesterday or the day before that. So Tuesday night, the focus is strong storms. Wednesday, the focus is going to be the gusty winds after the cold front. You notice we also mentioned the heavy rain potential, and kind of going back to what Jay was asking me a couple minutes ago. When the rain is falling Tuesday night, it's going to be heavy as the cold front moves through. But I'm not as concerned about lingering, significant, heavy rain that lasts all Tuesday night and all day Wednesday. I do not see a flooding threat at this point. So if we're ranking the concern of the strong storms, the wind, and the heavy rain is the lowest concern, which is good. Regardless, when those storms are rolling through, travel is going to be dicey. I think the Wednesday morning commute could be messy with the roads still being wet. There could be ponding in some spots. And there might be a few power outages. I can't rule it out. It's not going to be a significant power issue, but with the ground getting a little waterlogged again, if we have some of those 40-mile-per-hour gusts throughout the day on Wednesday, that might toss around a tree limb. Tree limb falls on a power line. You guys know the drill. So this does not look to be a gigantic, holy cow, tornado outbreak for the ages kind of a deal, okay? It doesn't. But it's still something to pay attention to. Here's Futurecast. Note the time here. Let me get this map full screen. This is 1 a.m. Wednesday morning, so late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, however you want to interpret it. The cold front is sweeping through. This is the European model, by the way. And you could basically see where that strong line of storms is going to be, right along I-65. Now, as this line pushes east, it's going to lose storm fuel. It's going to lose instability. The question is, how much instability does it lose, and how quickly does it lose that instability? The faster it loses that fuel or instability, the better. The further south of the instability stays, the better. Again, this is going to be the zone down towards Memphis, Little Rock, Oxford, Mississippi, down near Ole Miss. But some stronger storms could sneak into western Kentucky, and some strong storms may get as far east rather as Breckenridge County, Grayson County, Hardinsburg, Litchfield, E-Town. You guys might see a few stronger storms out of this. But it all just comes down to the instability. We don't have a ton. We're not going to have a ton of instability Tuesday night. But we're still in that time of year where you don't really need a ton of instability. If you have a lot of shear, a lot of spin in the atmosphere, or a lot of wind, that's all you might need to get a few strong storms, even without storm fuel or without instability. So that's what we'll continue to keep an eye on as we go through Tuesday night into early Wednesday. I do think the greatest severe weather risk is to our south and west. I'll show you the map from the Storm Prediction Center in a second. Then we get into Wednesday. We're still watching maybe for a narrow band of storms that tries to develop in southern Indiana Wednesday around 10 or 11 a.m., basically north of I-64. That will all come down to how much clearing we see behind the front Tuesday night. If we don't see a ton of clearing, if we just see a lot of clouds on Wednesday, we don't have to worry about any more storms on Wednesday. If we do see some clearing skies, then it could get a little dicey with a few storms that try to spin Wednesday morning into Wednesday lunchtime. Very conditional threat. That means it's not a guarantee at all. So just something that we're keeping in the back of our minds. Most of the day on Wednesday looks like this. It looks damp with wraparound rain showers. If you're not seeing rain showers, you're seeing mist and drizzle probably. And Wednesday also features strong wind gusts that eventually come out of the north and northwest. And as that happens, of course, the temperatures will start to drop. Wednesday will probably be one of those weird days to where, kind of like today, where our high temperatures at midnight or close to it. And we'll see those temps go down as the day wears on. So my main concern is going to be wind on Wednesday. Windy Wednesday. Say that 10 times fast. 40 mile per hour gust. I do think a wind advisory is likely Wednesday if the trends hold. And that might lead to a couple of power outages. Not everybody's going to lose power. I'm not saying that. This isn't Hurricane Ike from 2008. I'm just saying if a tree falls on a power line, might cause a little outage somewhere. So that's what we'll have to keep an eye on. For Wednesday, we'll keep the rain showers around throughout the day on Wednesday. And you do see, as we get towards Wednesday night, if there's still enough moisture around, as that colder air moves in, some of those rain showers could turn to snowflakes. Should that occur, it will not be significant. If it accumulates, it would be nothing more than a coating on the top of the car or on the deck, or on the patio. And the road should hold up just fine because we will have had several days of temperatures above freezing. So that's kind of where things stand at this point, guys. We don't have a ton of specifics. We're still just outside of that range of the high resolution models, getting a good view of this. But I'm hopeful this time tomorrow night when we're chatting, I can have a little more specific details for you. So tune in tomorrow night around this time and we'll start to get a better picture of how this is all going to shape up. But Tuesday night, strong storms and heavy rain. Wednesday, rain showers and wind. Wednesday night, rain showers might turn to snow showers. No accumulations, no impacts. That's the Cliff Notes version of where things stand with our alert days for next week. Comments time. So a lot of you guys are watching, almost 400 of you. Appreciate all of you. Sorry, there's been so many comments. I want to make sure I don't miss any. D says, hey, send us more snow, dude. This is about all I can give you at this point, D. Maybe a few snow showers Wednesday night. That's really all we have at this stage of the game. Nathan wants another winter storm. We'll see. I'm not totally sold on it. Scott's asking about schools next week. Way too early to say, Scott. And, as we always like to say, we don't make the calls. We do not make the decisions. So we'll see how all of this plays out. Over the next couple of days. Cameron asked a good question. What could happen between now and Tuesday night that could change how this all plays out in a good way or a bad way? The number one thing is going to be the instability or the storm fuel. Whenever you hear me say storm fuel and instability, that's the same thing. I just want to simplify it for you guys. If we get more storm fuel or instability, either one, take your pick. If we get more of that into wave country, than the models are suggesting right now, we're going to have more problems with strong storms Tuesday night. But if all of that storm fuel kind of gets stolen by our friends to the south, across Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, then we won't have as many strong storms to worry about. That's kind of the wild card that we're still trying to figure out at this point. More instability, not good. Less instability, very good. So that's the story for Tuesday night. That's the big thing that can still change. As far as Wednesday is concerned, the low pressure is pretty on track as far as where it's heading. It's going to go north of us. And it's a very strong cold front, or excuse me, a very strong low. So you're going to have gusty winds, 40 miles per hour, maybe a little higher. I don't think it's going to be like the big windstorm from a couple of years ago. I don't think it's going to be like 2008. And then, of course, that low end chance for some snowflakes Wednesday night. But the big wild card still is that storm fuel and instability Tuesday night. Right now, it looks like most of it will stay south of us, but we'll still need to watch in the days ahead. Braden talking about it's the month of wind in March. Always feels like there's some sort of wind event. I know some of you guys were mentioning that big windstorm we had a couple of years ago, March 3rd of 2023. I remember it well because I was working in Huntsville, that same event. You guys had significant wind up here. I'm pretty sure we had 75 mile per hour wind gusts in Huntsville that day or close to it. It was the most bizarre day. You had this band of storms roll through that lasted maybe 10 minutes. And then it was sunny the rest of the day. It was very, very strange. Has the SPC put out a severe risk for this event? Yes, they have. I will show it to you right now. This is for Tuesday in particular. So it applies for us for Tuesday night. I will start with the big picture first. Here we are up in Louisville. Here's wave country. There we are. You see the enhanced risk in orange covers much of Arkansas, much of Mississippi, northern Louisiana, and areas around Memphis. And I really think that is going to be the sweet spot. I shouldn't say sweet spot, but I think that's going to be the area of greatest concern Tuesday for damaging winds and tornadoes. It could be a significant event, unfortunately, for our friends in the Deep South. So that's the primary area of concern. Now, you do notice, tell you what, let me zoom in on it here. You do notice, as we zoom in closer to Kentucky and Indiana too, that we only have that slight risk in yellow for places like Paducah and Hopkinsville, Fort Campbell, Owensboro, Madisonville, basically Western Kentucky, west of Interstate 165. Old timers around here would call it the Natcher Parkway. That's what I call it. So Western Kentucky, again, looks to be the main zone to watch. But as we talked about, that instability is going to get less and less and less the further east that line of storms rolls through. And we're kind of in that questionable zone in our Kentucky counties. If we don't have a ton of instability, we don't have much to worry about. Just a few thunderstorms. Some could have gusty winds. But if that instability decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to go into Central Kentucky and stick around for a while, then we'll have some issues. So I would not be surprised if this slight risk that goes from Bowling Green to Owensboro right now gets extended again. Yesterday, that slight risk zone did include some of our Kentucky counties. Today, it doesn't. So that could still be adjusted over the next few days. This is, day 4? So we've got several more days, guys, to nail down who's the main area that we're going to have to focus on and the threats and how long the threat lasts into Tuesday night. But for right now, the greatest risk is not in wave country. It's not. It's west of us. But we could still have a few strong storms. So that's why we have the alert day in place for Tuesday night for the strong storm potential. Michael says, at least not as bad as what they're going to see to the south. Yeah, it's unfortunately going to be a classic deep south severe weather event. Working in Huntsville for almost 5 years, I would be sweating a little bit right now with what probably going to happen west of Alabama on Tuesday. Let's see. Angela's watching. Hope you're well, friend. How's the pressure gradient looking for that low Tuesday into Wednesday? Prepare yourself for the aches and pains. Yeah, it's going to be a rough day for you, Angela. I'm sorry. That pressure gradient is going to be pretty stout. Not necessarily because, you got a low and a high together necessarily, but because that low is going to be so strong, it's going to give you quite the pressure gradient as a result. So I do think 40 mile per hour gusts are a likelihood on Wednesday. That pressure gradient is going to be pretty strong because of that low being so strong. So if you struggle with aches and pains whenever you have a crazy pressure change or a pressure gradient like we're going to have, prepare yourself. It could be a rough Wednesday for you. Michelle's asking, is Hardinsburg in the slight risk? No, it is not. No, you guys are not in the slight risk for now. Nobody is in wave country. Nobody is. That risk is just to our west. Can I zoom in tighter? Yeah, I can. Here's our coverage area. Here's all 34 of our counties. Michelle, here's Hardinsburg right here between Brandenburg and Litchfield. And here's the edge of the slight risk. It stretches from Bowling Green to Evansville. Right through here. I know I'm drawing a yellow line onto a yellow map. I apologize, but you kind of get the idea. Now, as I said a moment ago, this could shift again back to the east. So we may tomorrow night be talking about a slight risk for Hardinsburg, for Litchfield, for Mumfordville, E-Town, Bardstown, Hodgenville, so on and so forth. But right now, there's just not enough confidence in how far these storms are going to maintain themselves as they push east. They lose that storm fuel, they could fall apart pretty quick, and we just have some heavier rain Tuesday night. But if that instability sticks around, then we're going to have some issues. So right now, the greatest risk is to our west and to our south. Nobody in wave country is under that slight risk just yet. But stay tuned. That could change. Scott's asking, could we get brief spin-ups Tuesday night? Yes, we could if we have instability. If we have instability in the air or in the atmosphere that can work with all of the wind shear, the wind energy in place, you can most certainly get a spin-up tornado, similar to what we had south of Bowling Green 2 weeks ago with that wild flooding event that we had. There was also a few severe storms just outside of wave country. A tornado touched down south of Bowling Green. So I can't rule that out again this time either. Braden, any chance this could get expanded east? Yes. Yes, it is very possible. Michelle has a very good question. Why is there not a marginal risk on this outlook from the SPC? Great question, Michelle. So I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. Okay. So let's imagine, just follow with me here. Today is day one. Okay. Today is day one of a severe weather outlook. Tomorrow is day two. Monday is day three. The Storm Prediction Center for severe weather risk maps on day one, day two, and day three include a marginal risk. But what you're looking at here is a day four risk for Tuesday. And day four risks do not have marginal risk. They start at slight, go to enhanced, moderate, and heaven forbid, a high risk. If we ever have a high risk on day four, we've got problems. But we don't right now, and we won't. So this map, Michelle, is a day four severe weather risk, and they only have slight and enhanced risk most of the time when it comes to the outlooks for day four. This far out, you just want to look at a general area that we need to pay attention to. As we get closer and we get more confident in the forecast, that's when we can start to really nail down not only the primary severe weather zones, but also those more specific zones that might not have as much severe weather, but could still have a few rough storms. That's where a marginal risk would come into play. So long story short, it's too early out to be issuing marginal risks at this point. We're just focused on slight and enhanced, because when you've got severe weather risk this far out, you just want to give people a heads up that something's brewing. You want to be broad at this point so you can get more specific as we get closer. Does that make sense, Michelle? I hope it does. If not, let me know and I'll do my best to explain it better, because this stuff gets complicated, I know. Very good question. Let's touch on the wind real quick, and then I'll show the 10-day. This is for Wednesday now. So we've got the Tuesday night storms. Then we turn our attention to the wind on Wednesday. Say that 10 times fast again. And you notice those gusts will be quite high much of the day. 35, 40 miles per hour solidly. There will be some gusts, I believe, over 40 miles per hour, 45 miles per hour possible. I will say these numbers have gone down a smidge today, but this would still be enough, in my opinion, to where a wind advisory would be issued by the Weather Service for Wednesday. So with that wind potential, we'll keep the alert day in place for Wednesday at this time. Just like yesterday, we had one for those gusts near 40 miles per hour. I think we had a few gusts around 40. That could definitely be the case again on Wednesday. All right, here comes the 10-day. Don't want to keep you guys too much longer. Most of the precipitation should be gone Thursday morning. Some models are trying to keep a few snowflakes around Thursday morning. I'm not sold on that at this point, but we'll watch the trends. Another system comes in next weekend. Does not have a severe weather potential, really doesn't have much of a storm potential either. But there will likely be some rain showers around starting Friday night, and we'll have some showers next Saturday as well. How much rain? The models are still trying to figure out, is this going to be a low pressure system next weekend that goes right through wave country? Does it stay south? So it's hard to say just how much rain we're looking at next weekend. But I do think we'll see some, especially Saturday. Some models have been trending drier for Sunday of next week. I'm not ready to go there just yet. So we'll keep the showers around into next Sunday as well, which, by the way, we spring forward next Sunday. Yes, daylight saving time is still a thing. And we all lose an hour of sleep. Somebody who works on this schedule, like me, not a fan of it. But that's okay. It's all right. Now, I mentioned the hints of the spring feel sticking around for a little bit. Look at next Monday and next Tuesday, 60 and 66. Confidence, at least in my confidence, is growing that once we get to the following week, so next Monday and next Tuesday, which you see on the 10-day, we're going to get some much warmer air in here, and it's going to be here to stay for a bit. So that's why That's why I'm cautioning our snow lovers out there that I think we may be winding down this winter. We're not totally done yet, but it is starting to wind down just a bit. Cameron asked about the tornado drill. The statewide drill is March 5th, Wednesday. It is still scheduled. The Kentucky tornado drill is still scheduled for Wednesday. They may have to postpone it because of the storms that go through Tuesday night and any rain and wind that's still around on Wednesday. A lot of times if there's inclement weather, it doesn't even have to be severe. It just has to be nasty weather. A lot of times the state will postpone it to another time when the weather's not as bad. So stay tuned on that. Stay tuned on that tornado drill for Wednesday. All right, guys. Any last minute questions before we go? Joseph says, will it be dry early Tuesday? Mostly dry, yes. Mostly dry. Much of the day on Tuesday looks mostly dry. Perhaps a few showers around. The main focus, though, is going to be Tuesday night as that cold front moves in. Good question. So that's all I got at this point, guys. Again, last minute questions, let me know. We will be on the TV side of things tonight at 11. So if you're still up and you still have a TV, we hope you tune in for that. Give you another forecast update there. I'll be on Sunrise tomorrow morning as always. And then we'll do another chat here on Wave Weather Now tomorrow evening, hopefully around 7 o'clock, just like we did tonight. That's going to do it, guys. Appreciate you watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. Stay warm. Enjoy the sunshine tomorrow, even if it is a cold sunshine on Sunday. All right, that's it for now. I'll see you guys on TV at 11 and back here on the digital side of things tomorrow night. Take care of yourselves. Good night.